Three bows to the Buddha. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow to teacher.
Mm. Okay, can you see my slides now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, hello everyone. We'll start today. Okay, so yesterday we covered more examples of illegal ways to gain wealth. And with the wealth gained, how should we manage them? Venerable Yin-Shun said, the first is to have a good balance without indulging in luxury and being stingy. And the second is to look after property and savings. The Buddha taught us a method for managing them. The method is a suitable plan that takes account several aspects. Namely, we divide the properly obtained annual income into four parts. Number one, the first part, daily expenses. Number two, savings. Number three, career development. Number four, doing good deeds. And after that, we look at who is wealth, this wealth belongs to. And this seems to be a simple questions, but in fact, it is very complex and it can be explained from three aspects. We look at number one, from the perspective of the past causes and conditions, which is the causes are the same in the past, but the conditions at present may be different. And number two, from the perspective of present ownership, the answer to the question is that wealth belongs to individuals in terms of ownership, while it belongs to all in terms of sharing. So today we will explore the third aspect. Number three, from the aspect of future rewards and retributions. Venerable Yin-Shun said, stored wealth does not always belongs to us. Used wealth no longer belong to us. Only the wealth given to others out of whom we respect or pity truly belongs to us. This needs to be explained separately. Oops. Okay. So the store wealth does not belong to us. What does it mean? Whether we change our accumulated wealth into real estate, deposit it into a bank, or hide it, this wealth may not belong to us. Buddhist sutras teach that the wealth is shared by the five households of flood, fire, robbers, wicked kings, and bad descendants. Water and fire disasters can destroy our hard-earned wealth. Robbers and bad kings can steal our wealth, and bad descendants can squander our wealth. There are even more problems in present days, such as the destruction from war and the currency devaluation. There are rich people who can lose all their wealth within a few days. Nobody can escape death, and nothing can escape impermanence. We cannot take all the wealth we accumulate with us when we die. So is your wealth still yours alone? Originally, there is nothing wrong with saving money for retirements and disasters. But some people are extremely stupid, and they even refuse to share their wealth with their parents and children, not to mention doing other charitable deeds. They don't even spend their wealth on themselves. So what is the use of having this wealth? There is a fable of an old person who accumulated gold. He buried all the gold he saved next to the wall outside his house. After having a meal each day, this old person will go to the wall and to check and appreciate his gold. However, as time goes by, his action is unavoidably noticed by others, and all the hidden gold is secretly taken away. On the next day, when the old person went to check on his gold as usual, he noticed all the gold has been stolen. This broke his heart, and he is crying so loudly that the voice has shocked the neighbors. The old man told others that his gold has been stolen, and someone asked, "How long have you buried the gold? Are you going to use it?" And he replied, "I have buried the gold for more than 10 years, and I have never used it because I have abundant annual income, so there is no need to use the gold." Thus, someone gave him a suggestion. It is easy to fix the problem. Lucky the gold was just buried and not needed for use. So you can just take some rocks and bury it there as they were the gold. Each day you can still go to that spot and watch and admire it with satisfaction. Does this not work? So this story illustrates that some unnecessary properties we keep only satisfy personal desire and have no use. We don't use and have not much use in real life, and eventually it will be gone. Second, used wealth no longer belong to us. Something that we can do what we like with our own wealth, and therefore they spend it in a wasteful manner as if they are very rich. Little do they know that in such a way, they will fall into the situation of greatest poverty. Let us look at two situations as example. On the one hand, if we have 1,000 kilograms of grains and we have saved up, over time, the grains may rot and become inedible, or they are gradually eaten up by mice and birds. This also applies to the situation where we purely store wealth away without using it. This is why previously I pointed out that stored wealth does not always belong to us. On the other hand, if we cook these grains at one time and eat it all up, in the end, we have no grains left, even though for us this is not a loss. The case of spending our wealth on ourselves only is just like this. It's just like this. That is why I said that used wealth no longer belongs to us. After exhausting all our past merits, if we do not produce any merits that we can reap in the future, this is the greatest poverty. Is this not true? Number 3, only the wealth given to others out of whom we respect or pity truly belongs to us. And all the wealth, if we accumulate it without using it, at the end, it will go disperse. And if we use it, up there is nothing left. In order to avoid poverty, we should allocate a portion of our current wealth to charity and cultivate virtues. In doing so, we are planting seeds of merits for the future. For example, if we plant a portion of that 1,000 kilograms of grains into the field with the enhancement by fertilizer, we will reap much more than the number of seeds we sowed. Similarly, if we give away a portion of our wealth to let others use the wealth or to help Buddhist cultural and charity work continue to flourish and benefit others, this is actually working to further create good merits. Giving may seem like a loss, as if the grains were rotting, but in fact, it brings about abundant wealth in the future, like the harvesting a bunch of crops, like lots of crops, lots of fruits. So Lao Tzu says, the more we give to others, the more we gain. This fittingly describes how generosity yields merits. Of course, when we sow seeds, we seek a good harvest, and therefore we must plant them in a field that is rich and not over a bed of sand and rocks. The same applies to creating merits via acts of generosity. There are two types of merits fields that are rich and fertile and can yield most abundant merits. The first one, number one, the first field, one is the field related to compassion. This is a field where we use our wealth to give comfort and relief to the lonely, poor, and the destitute, giving medicine and helping in times of disasters and so on. Carrying out these social benefits and deeds of charity is what planting meritorious seeds in the field related to compassion means. Reason being is that the receivers as the field are those whom we may sympathize. The second is the field related to respect. As children, we should respect our parents and be filial. As disciples of the Buddha, we should be respectful to the Triple Gem and so on. This is to plant meritorious seeds in the field related to respect, because these people are worthy of respect. As long as we sow seeds in the two fields that are related to compassion and respect, then in the present life or future lives, we will reap the results of good fortune. When we carry out an act of generosity, this creates the meritorious karmas of generosity. It is said in the Buddhist text that such a karma is associated with us from this life and into future lives. And these karmic merits is not something that water can wash away, fire can burn to ashes, thieves, bad rulers can take from us. This is why, I said, only the wealth given to others out of respect or sympathy truly belongs to us. What has just been discussed is still at the worldly aspect. Okay, so here's the story. In the karma of 7 types of givings, at number 76, at the 6th vesicle of the Sutras of Miscellaneous Treasures, Buddha gave a talk about 7 ways to give and their wonderful results. The first giving is generosity through eye contact. We should always treat our parents, teachers, monastic members, and Brahmins with the eyes of compassion and care, not evil eyes. This kind of giving can lead us to a good result and having good eyes that sees pure things, and we shall attain Buddhahood in the future, attaining the divine eye and the Buddha eye. So the divine eye is one of the 6 psychic powers and one of the 5 eyes. Unlimited vision enables us to see everything, large and small, far and near, and even the fate of all beings in future rebirths. This can be attained with human eyes through the practice of meditation for samadhi. And with the Buddha eyes, is the eyes of perfect insights gained on attaining Buddhahood, the highest of the 5 levels of visions. The second is giving with a warm and a pleasant face. We should treat our parents, teachers, sages, and Brahmins with a pleasant face without showing frowning or any frowning expressions. This kind of giving will lead one to have a dignified appearance in the next life. In the future, one will attain Buddhahood with a true golden body. This is the reward of the second kind of giving. The third type of giving is through the use of words. When speaking to parents, teachers, monks, and Brahmins, we should use soft and pleasant words, not foul language. If we can do this, in our next life, we shall have a great communication and discussion skills, and what we say will be listened to and trusted. When we attain Buddhahood in the future, we shall attain the 4 abilities of unhindered understanding and expressions. The 4 abilities are no error in teaching. The second is no lacking the understanding of the inner meaning of the teachings. And the third, unhindered speech, understanding all languages. And the fourth, unhindered ease in explanation. That means the free use of the above 3 abilities in the efforts to save all sentient beings. These are the rewards of this giving. The fourth is body charity. One pays respect to one's parents, teachers, sages, and Brahmins. In the next life, one can obtain an upright, tall, dignified body which is respected by people. In the future, when one becomes a Buddha, one's body will be tall like a big tree that no one will be able to see the top of it. This is the reward of the 4th type of giving. The 5th type of giving comes from the heart. If despite engaging in the previous 4 types of giving, one's heart is not gentle and kind, then it cannot be considered true giving. Giving from the heart with a gentle, kind, grateful, and respectful heart is known as heartfelt giving. Through this kind of giving, one can attain a clear and non-delusional mind in the next life and eventually achieve Buddhahood. Acquiring a mind enriched with various forms of wisdom, these represent the 5th fruits of giving. The 6th type of giving involves beds and seats to our parents, teachers, monks, and Brahmins so that they can rest and sit comfortably. By doing this, we can always receive honorable treatment in return. Furthermore, when we achieve Buddhahood, we will receive a lion's seat, which symbolizes the Buddha's seat. These are the rewards of this kind of offering. The seventh type of offering is providing accommodation. If we can give parents, teachers, monks, and Brahmins a place to stay and rest, this kind of giving will enable us to live in a palace in the future lives. And when we attain Buddhahood, we can achieve all kinds of samadhi and the house of infinite samadhi. With these 7 types of givings, people can obtain extraordinary merits and rewards. The act of giving is the first step on the Bodhisattva path for helping and guiding all sentient beings. The 7 types of giving explained by Buddha are acts of giving that can actually be practiced in everyday life. In the records of the verses of Lotus Sutra, it says, the slightest good deeds of a moral person can become the cause for Buddhahood. With the intention of benefiting others, one should let go the notion of differences and comparison between people and oneself. And with an equal, pure, and joyful heart in every moment of dealing with others, one can achieve goodness of giving through one's body, speech, and mind, bringing joy to all sentient beings. In this way, not only can you extend your own mind and grow your compassion and selflessness, but you can also benefit others and make good connections and achieve the great virtues of giving, thus benefiting yourself and others. So here's another examples from the sutra, a story. Generosity is like a walking valuable asset and a bridge that lead us to happiness in future lives. So the story is from the Sutra of Great Adornment. People who practice generosity should stay away from the 8 kinds of dangers. Number 1, wealth and property being taken away by the government. Number 2, property being robbed by thieves. Number 3, property being burned by fire. Number 4, property being lost and damaged by flood. Number 5, property being unfairly taken away by creditors and enemies. Number 6, failure to cultivate the farmland property. Number 7, poor management of the business. And number 8, wealth lavishly spent and consumed by bad dissidents. So accumulating wealth and treasures can bring us danger. Only the wise ones who use the treasure to practice generosity can secure their fortune. I heard a story about a king who punished merchants. The king told the merchants, record and list all your possessions and hand it in to me. So when the merchants returned home, he remembered everything he had given to the beggars, the food for their meals, as well as the grain and grass he had given to the birds and animals. He had meticulously recorded and presented all these to the king, but he hadn't included his existing possessions at home. So when the king saw this, the king asked him, "Why did you note down such things?" The merchants replied, "Your Majesty, you ordered me to list all my possessions and present it to you. I have compiled with your request, and I have presented the complete list of my possessions to you, Your Majesty." The merchants then recite such a verse: property as a property is shared by the five groups in our world: kings, thieves, and robbers, water, fire, and ungrateful sons. All those shared by these five groups are now in my family, but the property that I have recorded and represented are all those which cannot be violated or seized by anyone, not even by kings, thieves, water, fire, or other calamities. Even if seven suns were to rise simultaneously, Mount Sumeru and the sea all melt and disappear, but the objects I have given for charity will not be burned or lost in the least. Money deposited with parents, brothers, sisters, and other relatives and friends may all be destroyed or lost, but only the thing that have been given away for charity will last till the end. Generosity is like a walking valued treasure that always follow the giver. Giving is like a close friend that no one can destroy. Poverty is like the sea, so vast and frightening. But generosity is a sturdy ship, and only those who practice generosity can reach the shore on the other side. I understand karma and I know the results of giving. Therefore, I'm not afraid to tell the truth. What I have listed for you, Your Majesty, was my property. All the things and treasures in the house are shared by the five groups, so I dare not list them out. So when the king heard these words, he rejoiced and said, "Oh, good, you are a person of great virtues, and I do not need all your possessions now. As you said, only the merits and virtues of Dharma wealth gained through giving are your wealth. And the rest of the wealth is indeed shared by the five groups." So at this time, the king also recited a verse saying, "Those who practice generosity by personal providing for the needs of others should feel joyful without any remorse. By doing so, they can enjoy great happiness in their future lives, whether they are reborn in the human or heavenly realm." So with our wealth about to be divided among five groups, should we not practice generosity as soon as possible? The virtues and merits gained from generosity are the wealth that no one can take from you. If people are stingy and do not give, their possessions will eventually be taken away by others. Not only will they get a bad reputation in this life, but they will also be poor in the future lives. Stingy people are truly foolish and ignorant. Look at the people around us. When they die, others will share their houses, possessions, and all their treasures. They cannot bring their wealth with them. When we see all these with our own eyes, how can we not feel disappointed and disgusted and quickly give away our possessions for charity? The only wealth we can keep and will not be taken by the five groups is the virtue we have accumulated by practicing generosity. At the time of death, we have to give up everything we have. We cannot hold on to any possessions. We have to give up everything we have anyway, but we will not gain the results of giving. So by observing this, wise people will certainly practice giving, offering financial help and giving Dharma teaching or teaching other skills. People should give this help directly themselves. People who give generously are like elephants whose saliva and sweat are fragrant. Similarly, wise givers are praised by people for their great merits and benefits. If people has a lot of wealth but is stingy and refuse to give it away, they will be disgraced by the world. And if a person with wealth ignores a beggar when they seize one, he is considered to be poor and miserable, even if they have much treasure. On the other hand, a person who is poor but gives generously is often considered to be wealthy, while someone who has a lot of money but is stingy with it is still not free from the burdens of poverty. Those who give water can cleanse the dirt of greed from their minds. Stingy people will not experience good and happy results after death. They will likely fall into an evil realm, similar to a deep pit or trap, or a trap. Like all kinds of treasures, such as horses, cows, sheep, have to be relinquished at the time of death, and this causes great sufferings to people. The attachment to possessions and the fear of losing them can make people feel anxious and frightened. However, those who practice generosity feels happy at the end of their lives and do not experience any remorse. Wise people look down on people who are stingy and jealous. On the other hand, those who are generous are always happy, regardless of their wealth, whether rich or poor. A stingy person is like a grave that everyone tries to avoid. Even though a stingy and greedy person is alive, they are no different from a hungry ghost. Those who generously give to others are admired and respected by everyone, and they are loved by the wise. They will reborn, they will be reborn in the heavenly realm at the end of their lives. How can those who love and care for themselves not practice giving? Giving is the best companion and a wonderful resource that does not need to be carried by horses and carts or to be protected by any kinds of guards. Giving is a walking valuable treasure and is a bridge to great fortunes and joy in future lives. Giving can protect us from various disasters and the 5 groups mentioned, namely kings, thieves, water, fire, and ungrateful descendants, who wouldn't practice giving if they love and care for themselves. If one has given millions of dollars but gets only a small reward in the next life, still one knows that one needs to practice giving. Further, if giving just a little will lead to great merits and benefits, one should give more. In this story, the king ordered the merchants to prepare a record of all his possessions and to submit it to the king. And the merchants only recorded what he had given out in the past, but not what he had at his home. So the king wondered why the things he had already given away were considered his property, but not the things he kept at home. And then the merchants replied, ordinary wealth is shared by the 5 groups, the kings, the thieves, the water, the fire, and ungrateful sons, and does not belong to him. But what he had given away has become his wealth of merits and virtues, which no one can take away. So only this wealth of merits and virtues belong to him personally. So the king was very pleased and was in complete agreement with the merchant's idea. People spend a lot of time and efforts to accumulate a lot of money in their lives. But once they die, nothing can be taken with them. Only their karma remains with them. Even if we are reluctant to part with these possessions will definitely leave us. So if you can give alms with a kind heart while you are still alive, you can turn ordinary wealth into the wealth of merits and virtues. However, some people are greedy and do not give away. So when they die, they still need to give up all their belongings, but they will not receive alms this time because the person has no intention to give of giving and he gets nothing. It is stated in the sutra, giving is a walking valuable treasure. Giving with a kind heart transform ordinary wealth into the wealth of merits and virtues. Such wealth does not need to be carried by carriages and horses or guarded by others. These merits and treasures will follow us all time and even into our future lives. Therefore, it is said, giving is a walking valuable treasure and a bridge that leads us to happiness in future lives. I hope that while we can still use our property freely during our lifetime, we should be more determined to make offerings to the Triple Gem and to do things that benefits all sentient beings, and not to be greedy or stingy. Otherwise, we will regret that we have gained nothing when all our properties is gone. So the 5 great virtues of givings. In the past, Buddha lived in a forest, Vaishali, with his disciples, the 500 great bhikkhus. At that time, a great general by the name of Shi-Yi, his name is Shi-Yi, the great general, came to visit the Buddha. When he saw the Buddha, he bowed at the Buddha's feet and sat down respectfully at the Buddha's side. The Buddha asked General Shi-Yi, "Hey, Shi-Yi, do you still continue to give and do charitable acts in your daily life?" The great General Shi-Yi replied, "Yes, Buddha. I am still giving alms everywhere, both outside and inside the 4 gates of the city, so that all the people are not lacking food and supplies. I give food and drinks to those who need it, and I gave clothes, incense, horses, vehicles, and seats to those who need them." The Buddha praised General Shi-Yi. "It is very great and precious that you always give and not be stingy. If you always maintain this, the good practice of giving, you will attain the 5 great virtues. First, you will be well known and honored by all. People will praise you and say, 'Oh, in a certain village, there is a great person who always respectfully provides for the needs of the monks and the Brahmins so that they are not in lack of anything.' This is the first virtue of giving. Secondly, people who donate to and support monks, officials, Brahmins, the elders will not feel intimidated or afraid. They are fearless in any situation and can deal with crowds without fear, like a lion, the king of all wild animals. Like a lion among a herd of deer, they will have no difficulties or fear. This is the second virtue of giving. Moreover, people who do charitable deeds will be admired and respected by all. Everyone will feel happy meet them will feel happy, like a child seeing his father. And they will not stop having respect and admiration for their father. This is the third virtue of giving. The fourth, people who give will be reborn in a better place after death. They will either be reborn in heavenly realms or human realms. If they reborn in heaven, they will be honored by all the heavenly beings. If they reborn on earth, they will be born in a family with high social status, honored and respected by others. This is the fourth virtues of giving. Finally, the wisdom of people who give and help others will surpass all of the other peoples. And if he and she devotes himself or herself to the practice of Buddhism, he or she will be able to free himself or herself from all troubles of this world and will no longer be transmigrated in the cycle of life and death. This is the fifth virtues of giving. So if people always give with a happy heart, they will certainly obtain these five merits of giving. Then the Buddha presented the audience with the following verse. If a person is always happy when giving, he will gain merits from it. He will have no doubts or difficulties when facing others, and he will have no fear. A wise person should give to others without remorse. Then that person will be reborn in the 33 heavens with dancing maidens around. Buddha also said, after the donor is born on earth or in the heavens, if he or she can become a monastic member and practice diligently, then that person will be able to leave all his or her defilements and obstacles and attain nirvana. The Buddha says the following verse, giving is the food and supplies for our future lives. Until we attain ultimate enlightenment, gods and devas will always protect us and rejoice with us. Buddha further explained to General Shi-Yi, if one is always joyful and steadfast, and steadfast in the practice of giving, one will be able to attain all the good virtues, the pure samadhi, and will clearly understand this truth. What does clear understanding of this truth means? It means understanding clearly the source of suffering, the end of suffering, and how to leave suffering and attain happiness. Therefore, one should always be diligent on their practice and do all kinds of charity and good deeds. If one can practice this, one will certainly be able to fulfill one's wishes and attain the fruits of Arahat and the Pratyeka Buddha. Therefore, General, you should practice like this. Hearing the Buddha's elaboration of the five great virtues of giving, General Shi-Yi was delighted and vowed to follow his teachings. So this is the teachings is from San Chu of the 24 fascicles of Ekotarka Agama. So giving is a kind of selfless act aimed at benefiting others. It is the practice of giving away one's life, wealth, or guiding others in Dharma teaching. There is a saying that when sentient beings are happy, all the Buddhas are happy too. So when we give, we not only get rid of bad habitual behavior, such as being stingy and greedy, but we can also help others to get out of their difficult situations. We can also gain joy and freedom through the purity of our egoist mind. Practitioners of the parameter of generosity should further understand the meaning of emptiness in the three aspects. There is no giver, no object given, and no recipient. By practice giving without attachment to the appearance of the acts of giving, with the mind remaining unmoved, have a clear awareness, and without attachment to all kinds of giving, one can then accomplish the purest bodhisattva aspiration of Maha Prajna Paramita. In giving, if one realizes the real nature of emptiness of the giver, the receiver, and the objects of giving, and destroy attachments, such practice is done through the concept called the emptiness of the three aspects. So with the emptiness of giving, it means when the person who can give realizes the emptiness of self, knowing that there is no self, so there is no desire for blessing and rewards. This is called the emptiness of giving. The emptiness of receiving. The person who can give, realizing that there is no one who can give and that there is no one else who can be the recipient of the gifts, has no thought of excessive pride to give. This is called the emptiness of receiving. The objects given are empty. When one realizes that all things are empty, even if one gives something, it is still considered empty. So one has the greedy desire for it. This is so one has a greedy desire for it. This is called giving is empty. So from the story above, we learn that the habit of long-term giving is important. I heard a talk by a venerable monk, and he said he appreciates those who can persist in practicing for a long time. He said that some temple in Taiwan would not accept a large once for all donation because they encourage long-term giving practices. The venerable thinks that this approach is good and worth adopting because our greed originates from beginningless kalpas, which cannot completely be eradicated by giving just once. If we want to give once or twice to get rid of our greed from beginningless kalpas, or to achieve the parameter of generosity, it is impossible to achieve. He said that in the past, there was someone who wanted to donate 10,000 US dollars to his temple. And that was very heartfelt. No doubt he was very pleased and admired the person who was willing to donate. But the important thing is that we must not go beyond our financial means and should not be impulsive. This person came back shortly after the donation and told the venerable that he had no money left at home and his father was sick and had to go to hospital for treatment, and his child had no food, no money for food. So this person asked the venerable, "Can I have my money back?" The venerable thought that, oh, fortunately, he had not spent the money, so he would give it back to him. Originally, the venerable had the idea of spending the money to improve the temple, but he thought, oh, whether he, would use the money to build a temple or not depend on many conditions. It was not a must, and so the idea should not be carried out by force. While the fact that this man, the family member was sick and the children had nothing to eat was a life-threatening matter. So he returned the money intact and repeatedly told him that if he was really in financial trouble and needed some temporary help, the venerable could do something and give some alms and help him personally. So after this experience, the venerable said he would ask several times when someone made a large donation, where did this money come from? Did you earn it? Can you make the decision? Does your wife or husband know about this? Does your family knows that you are here to give alms? Will they allow you to give, etc.? And the Venerable said he will ask many, many questions. This is to be responsible because he doesn't want people to have regrets after giving, let alone disputes and conflicts in their families after giving. It is also the Sangha's responsible attitude towards them to confirm that the money given has a proper source and that the donor will not make the family skip meals and become homeless because of the donation. Otherwise, the donation will not be good. The Venerable said, it is easy to initiate the spirit of giving, but difficult to maintain it. So it is a good habit for us to practice generosity by giving $1 or $2 every today or tomorrow, give every day, give every week, every month without interruption. Giving does not require you to go bankrupt, but you must be very conscious and give from your heart. When you start to give, you may be reluctant and even may suffer. Your heart will be hurt and you may even regret it sometimes. But if we have been given for a long time, we shall develop a habit of giving. Then your heart won't be hurt and you will gradually develop a good habit. We won't be so attached to money and we won't be controlled by money in the end. Only then can the purpose of eliminating greed be achieved. Only then can we perfect our giving paramita. So the dana paramita, the perfection of giving. So the following texts are from the treatise on the generating the Bodhi Resolve Sutra. The sutra said, how can the Bodhisattva cultivate giving? Giving should be cultivated for self-benefits, benefit of others, and their combined benefits, in order to adorn the path to Bodhi. So the right motivation in practice of giving. The Bodhisattva is motivated by a wish to train and discipline beings so that they can overcome sufferings and afflictions through the practice of giving. A person who cultivates giving constantly motivates themselves to give away their material wealth to anyone who seeks it. In doing so, they cultivate a mindset of respect and veneration akin to the feelings they have for their parents, teachers, and spiritual guides. They feel pity and compassion for those in poverty, treating them as they would treat their own children and giving whatever is needed joyfully and respectfully. This is the essence of the mindset of giving cultivated by the Bodhisattva. Number 2, self-benefits. On the accounts of cultivating the practice of giving, one's fine reputation spreads all about, and no matter where one is reborn, one's wealth and jewels become luxuriously abundant. This is the definition of self-benefit. The 3, benefits of others. Where one is able to cause the minds of beings to become satisfied, where one is able to transform them through teachings, and where one is able to train and discipline them in a way whereby they are caused to become free of miserliness. This is called this is what is meant to be meant by benefit of others. Number four, combined benefits. On the basis of that kindness, great giving, which one has cultivated, one teaches beings, thus causing them to gain benefits identical to one's own. This is called what this is meant by combined benefits. Number five, adorning the path of Bodhi through giving. On accounts of cultivating giving, one gains the throne of the wheel-turning king, draws in all of the incalculably many beings, and become able even to gain inexhaustible Dharma treasures of the Buddha. This is what is meant by adorning the path to Buddha. So I think for today, I'll end the sessions at here. So we had a few minutes left. Any thought, any questions, or any things that everyone like to say? We can discuss. Yeah. So actually, I had a few experience because at Indonesia in our temple we got a lot of lay people, lay Buddhists, and a lot of times that I go to the funeral to help them when some people died. Then, after going and help so many families, I observe one things, whether they are rich or poor, at the end, they just end up in a coffin. And I mean, sometimes, a rich families, um, even they have a lot of things. Maybe, their family members are not, how can I say, are not treat them as nice as a poor family. So sometimes I was thinking that, uh, even though they have lots of wealth, lots of money, and they pass on their children, I mean, they don't take anything away. They didn't do anything for themselves. So I think that, after listening to all these teachings, it inspired me that wealth we can't take away, and it's only this present life. But if we can use this with a purpose, it can turn into a merit, a virtues for ourselves. But also this wealth can also help a lot of people that really need those help. So I was thinking, it's very easy concept, but we have to do it. We have to remind ourselves, and we have to always sort of think about it in our mind. Somehow it becomes automatic. When someone needs help, you help them. Yeah. So this is the things that are very important for us as a Buddhist, and also for us to help everyone around us. Okay. So anyone has anything to say?
This was very useful, Venerable. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome. I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So I missed the virtues of giving. I missed the first and the fifth.
The first and the fifth.
Yes.
That one? Is it?
So this
No?
is, I think
Or
there were,
how about I send you later?
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
I
find it.
think there were only five of them. Like the
Okay.
second virtue is being fearless in any situation. The third
Oh yeah,
virtue,
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, because I
also,
didn't put it out. I just
yeah,
read
that's
it.
what I meant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will make it at least. I'll send it to you.
Oh, thank you. And
Yeah?
then my second question was,
Hold on, let me write it down first. Otherwise I
sure,
forgot. Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so earlier in your talk, you listed the seven types of giving and the attainments. I think they corresponded with the type of giving, and I think attainments. There were 7 of them, and I
Oh,
missed
yes.
some of those in the beginning of the list.
Okay. I will, oh, okay.
So
I
this
will,
was
yeah, I will do that and I'll, uh, give you tomorrow. Yeah.
okay. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Okay. Oops. So is it almost there or anything else?
I just think it's a difficult thing to debate whether or how much to give. And I know
Mm,
that it's also based on the fact you have a certain amount of money. So you can
mm,
see
mm,
the position that poor people come from.
mm, mm, mm,
That
mm,
that's
mm.
all I was thinking.
Yes, yes. You don't, I mean, if we are poor, we don't really have to always give. You see how, whether you can afford or not. If you can't, you just do generosity by other way. Like you can help the temple, help people when they need. It's the same. And
Yeah.
then,
I,
yeah, sometimes, when you do all these, sometimes your luck will change. Sometimes you will become richer or you got more opportunities.
well, like
You
I
see
mean,
yeah, you just have to, yeah, different ways. But yes, you're true. Even to give $1 or give a lot of money, it depends on how our motivation, our heart, when we first initiate, is it a very pure heart that you give your donation? So it's a small donation and a very big donation. I see them the same. It depends on how that person who gives, uh, what
yeah, and
is
then you
in their mind. Yes.
and greedy relatives. For example,
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to be getting $1,000 a month to pay my rent,
Mm-hmm.
and my sister-in-law, who was receiving $4,000 to take care of my mother, wants
Mm-hmm.
that thousand. She was trying to get me pay stub information from me, and I said, "My personal information is my business." And so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't give. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't trust her to give her anything because
Mm-hmm.
she's just.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because you see that five groups of people can steal money. So sometimes I was thinking, I mean, family members sometimes, but don't have hatred or
I
don't make
don't.
these cause obstacles. You just do your part and keep it a peaceful way of communication.
I
Still keep
can't. I
good
can't
relationship.
communicate.
Yes, yes,
I
yes. You
can't
just
because
yeah.
if I'm open about anything I'm doing, I can't tell her anything, which means I can't have a real conversation with mother on the phone because she's in the background and sometimes she's been screaming and other things. And so it's been
Oh,
very difficult for me. But
uh-huh.
I realized I couldn't have that conversation. And I explained this to my other family members and they agree. I can't let on anything.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry. Uh,
Yeah.
if you keep doing your practice, hopefully conditions will change and you will have the skillful means to solve this problem.
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
saying
Have a
anything other
addition
Mhm.
than
to this. I
that.
have
Yes.
an
Okay.
addition
We
for
have
this
to. Yeah. We have to
generosity
finish.
for
Mm-mm,
giving. Actually,
mm-mm,
not just money or donation is most
mm-mm,
important. I think the
mm-hmm,
action, what you have
mm-hmm,
done to the people who need help, that's
mm-hmm.
more important than just give $1 or $10,000. It doesn't matter. You can
Yes. Yes.
when they
Mm-hmm,
need you, you have to
mm-hmm,
do that. See, if
mm-hmm,
somebody step on your toe because you did not give the money, I mean, that's the
mm-hmm,
problem, not our problem. We can just do what we can. That's all.
mm-hmm,
That's what I
mm-hmm,
think. Every time people talk about giving, they always
Yeah.
talk about money. But
mm-hmm,
for me,
mm-hmm,
faith doesn't do that. Money is the secondary important. Of course, if you don't have money, you cannot do too much, but you
mm-hmm,
still can do something by your action, helping
mm-hmm,
Faye,
sweep the floor and things like this, and take them to go to see doctor or talking
mm-hmm.
to them even sometime. I think that's all inclusive into the
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah
Faye is
Mm-hmm.
very good
generosity.
about that. She always asks me if I need help.
Mm.
Yes, yes. I've always said no, right? Jane.
Oh, you're always
Do it
asking me if
myself.
I need anything.
Yeah.
As long as I can do it, I would do it myself. I'm not asking too much, unless I cannot reach the high point. Let's put it that way. I have to use the big ladder. I don't want to fall down. That's something like this. I would ask people to help me out. Some people said, no, do it yourself. Okay, fine. I do it myself. So
Wow.
Venerable, just not for this evening, but just as a thought, I would like to hear what you have to say. I kind of see that generosity in general in the States is kind of dying, or if it not almost all dead. Like we have very little volunteerism and things like that. And if you've seen this as some kind of each of our karma, like we're born in a time where there's no volunteerism, very little generosity that's true from the heart. I mean, there's a lot of skeptical generosity for taxes, but not for real. And is that because of our group karma? And is there a way we could protect ourselves from it?
But I think, we know the teachings and we will slowly, guide everyone around us. You have to see, we have to use skillful means, but this is the right way. This is a good way. It's a treasure that we should also give others to the new generations. So never give up. It's difficult, but never gives up. Yeah.
But is it our karma? Is it our karma that we are in this space where generosity is not existent, basically?
Well, it still is just not like before, because people in the past, they are more simple. I think nowadays, I don't know what happens. The new generation, they don't really have the faith, or they don't. I don't know how it say, but we cope. We still have to do what we have to do, I think. And then to gain wisdom, we can't say that, okay, the environment is like that, it's very upsetting, then I don't practice. Don't do that. You have to practice and find a way to make others also inspiring and do some work. It's hard. This is what bodhisattvas do.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes, don't worry. Okay, the time is up. I think we'll end this session first, okay? And then we can talk after this. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yes.
3 bows to the Buddha. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And bow to the teacher. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So Anne-Marie.
Yes.
Hello.